DBS community, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super video here with Kyle Chris. And today I'm very excited to bring you guys my next leader concept installment video. And we're going to be going over Mystic Gohan, aka Potential Unleashed, the Potential Unlocked, whatever, Ultimate Potential Gohan that's in the anime. This is one of my favorite versions of Gohan outside of course, the Future Gohan and SS2 Gohan. There's not a good Son Gohan Adolescence leader in the game. So I wanted to make one, and I made him yellow because yellow is awesome. So hopefully you guys like the leader. It's a very interesting leader, as you guys will see in the deck. And hopefully you guys can give me some just what your guys' thoughts are. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, hit the bell for all the notifications if you guys want to see more Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super content. And we'll get right here into the leader. So leader, as I said before, he is a yellow leader, but he's a yellow field spell focused leader. Who focuses on having these extremely powerful endgame finishing abilities. He also has a Limit Breaker Awaken, which you guys will see what that is. If you guys haven't watched my time in this video, there should only be one other champion concept video out, which is Chi-Chi. She also has a Limit Breaker Awakening, and you kind of will get an idea of what that is. And then he also has a very unique playing and drawing mechanic in the deck. So we'll go into what the Awaken or Unawakened side does. So Gohan, he's a 10k power leader. When this card is placed in the leader area, activate one Legacy of the Z-Sword from your deck. So that is your field spell. You activate it from your deck just as you would with any other leader that plays out the field spell for free. Auto, once per turn when this card attacks, take up to 1 life. When this card attacks, gain 5, and then this card gains 5 power for the battle. So on your Awakened side, you become a 15k leader, you take a life. No drawing mechanic, as you can notice in the deck for the leader. He has 2 different Awakens. So you have your first Awaken, which is at 3 or less life, draw 2 cards and switch 1 energy to act mode, and then flip this card over. So he has a very similar awakening to Sin and Reboot Gohan and Yellow Baby. Then he has his Limit Breaker Awaken, which when the Legacy of the Z-Sword has 4 cards underneath it, you may pitch 1 card. If you do, switch 2 energy to act mode, draw 2 cards, and flip this leader over. That's a very unique ability. And the Limit Breakers are meant to be sort of Surge Awakening abilities without actually being a Surge leader. And I think they do a pretty good job of balancing out what the Surge leaders were able to do without actually having the, those extra powerful Surge abilities that put the card under, underneath the leader and stuff. So the first thing we're going to go over here is the field spell. So you have Legacy of the Z-Sword. So permanent, if your leader is a yellow Son Gohan Adolescence, this card is not affected by skills of your cards or your opponent's cards other than its own skills. Auto, once per turn at the start of each turn, look at the top card of your deck. If the card has the keyword skill Focus, activate its card skill, then you may draw 1. And you will see there, I do include some of the cards that would be in this archetype, and they have a keyword skill called Focus, and I'll kind of go over that once we see those cards. Auto, when your leader activates its Awaken skill, flip this card over. So this is also a very first in the game where you have a field spell that has an Awaken effect, or a field spell that is a double-sided card. I think it's very, very cool. Very, very interesting idea. So at the start of each turn, so at the start of your opponent's turn and at the start of your turn, you get to look at the top card of your deck. If the card has Focus on it, you activate its ability. If not, so how this would work, and this would be a Bandai ruling. You reveal, because you don't reveal the card. So the card's not being revealed to your opponent, so you wouldn't shuffle it back in. What it would probably happen, you would look at the top card of your deck. If it's not a card that has the keyword skill Focus on it, you'd put it to the bottom of your deck, and then you would draw a card. That's probably how the ruling would go. I think it would be the most fair way of doing it, because if not, it's just you're drawing the top card of your deck and you're looking at it first, which wouldn't really matter because you're just gonna draw it anyways. But I think that's probably a better way of doing it, is that you draw the top card of your deck. I guess I could see both of them, where maybe one ruling could be you look at the top card of your deck. If it's the Focus card, you play it, then draw a card. If not, you just draw that card, because you're not actually revealing it to your opponent. But also, like I said, then you get to flip the card over. Now, on the other side, the Awakened side version of the Legacy of the Z-Sword, permanent. If your leader is a yellow Son Gohan Adolescence, this card is not affected by the skills of your cards and your opponent's cards other than its own. So it cannot be removed, can't be tapped, can't be anything other than this card's effect. Auto, same ability as before. So you look at the top card of your deck. If it's a Focus card, you play it. If it's not, you draw a card. So you're drawing essentially you know, every single turn. It's a very, very quick deck. You're going to end up drawing a lot. And for that, you know, milling is sort of a downside to the deck, but that's kind of the idea, is you got to have some weaknesses in the deck. Activate battle for 3 yellow and then 1 colorless, which is an X, so you can do as many of them as you want. You tap this card. For each energy tapped by this skill, choose one of your opponent's cards and switch from the rest mode. Plus, grant your leader 10k power for the turn for each 2 energy used for this ability, then negate the skills on this card for your following turn. So, if you tap 6 energy for this, and if you have the ability to tap 6 of your opponent's cards, that's kind of how it works. So you tap as many energy as you tap with this card, or tap cards, and then for every 2 energy that you are able to use, you gain 10k power for the turn, for the battle. I'm sorry. Yeah, you gain 10k power for the battle. So how this will work is, let's say you tap 4 energy. So you tap the 4 energy here. How that would work, you would tap the 4 energy. You would have to tap down 4 of your opponent's cards. If you only tap down 2, then you only get the 10k power. If you tap down 4, then you get the 20k power. But that's obviously something that you would have to look at as you're playing the game. As you would look and go, okay, I can tap 5 energy here, and I can tap 5 of my opponent's cards. And that will give you 20k power, because you wouldn't be getting an extra 5k for the 1, so there'd be no reason to do it. So you would either do 4, 6, 8, that kind of thing. And then you gain 10k power for each of the 2 energy that you tapped. So if you tap 4, you gain 20. If you tap 6, you gain 30. Now, the reason for this is the awakened side of Mystic Gohan. So on this side, when this card attacks, you may choose one. You either may draw a card, or choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, negated skills, and I put kills, but as you see there, it's spelled skills. I don't know why there's a space, and KO it. So you do have the ability to not draw with your leader. This is a way for you to not mill yourself out as much, which is cool. You can basically attack and then just kill stuff in rest mode, which is pretty powerful. Permanent. When Gohan gains power, when Gohan's power increases, he gains the following effect during the attack. So when his original power breaches 45,000 power, he gains double strike. When he gains 60,000 power, he gains triple strike. So this is kind of the end game finisher in the deck, is that you tap your field spell to, so let's say you tap 4 energy here. This gives him 20k power. So he's at 35k, then you need another 10k power. So once you reach a certain limit, once you reach a certain power, his power, you gain these keyword skills. So now what I'm thinking is making it either original power, so it can only be increased by extra card skills that give plus powers, or that's probably the best way of doing it. So you can use things like Vegeta Final Flash, Sensu Bean, and then other cards that would be printed that would give, you know, plus 10k or plus 5k or plus, you know, 15k or whatever those are. And I'm sure in his Archetype he would have a few cards that do that, where he's able to gain plus on power depending on which card that he's using to help him get to these limits here. Because comboing will not do this. So don't think that. So don't think you can combo up to 60k and oh my gosh, now I'm at, you know, 60k double, you know, 60k triple strike. It doesn't work that way. That has to be original power. So his original power has to be boosted by a card, not by combo use. So this is the way that you're kind of ending the game. I was very curious to maybe add a quad strike version of it as well, but we just stopped at triple strike. I think that's probably fair enough. But the fact that he can gain these keyword skills just by increasing his power is pretty freaking awesome. So this is your game finisher in the deck. Now, I did make some of the Archetype cards that would be in this deck, and I wanted to go over those with you guys as well, just so you have an idea of what some of those cards would be. So the first card is going to be Shin, or as we call him, East Supreme Kai. So Focus is a skill that you activate this card's skill whenever it's revealed from any area. So if this card is placed in your warp from your hand, it's technically revealed, so then you can activate its effect. If you reveal it from the top of your deck, when you look at it from the top of your deck, you can reveal it and then activate its effect. If you pitch it from your hand from a skill, if you pitch it from your hand, it has to be pitched by a skill, of course. You can't just combo it away. because you're not really revealing it in that sense. But if it's warped from your hand, if it's warped from, if it's sent to the drop area from your hand, from a skill, from some hand destruction thing, or if you're revealing it from the deck, you can activate its focus skill, and just allows you to do whatever the card says, and for free. So Isekai here is a 2-drop 6k power. So when this card comes into play, so basically this card here, whenever you activate these cards' focus abilities, you play them. So this card comes into play whenever you activate focus. Whenever you can basically activate focus to play this card out, or you can pay the 2 energy to play it out from your hand. Well, when this card comes into play, you search top 8 for a God or a Sun Gohan Adolescence card, then add 1 to your hand. So just a searcher. Activate main, place this card underneath the legacy of the Z Sword, then draw a card. You cannot activate the active main skill on copies of this card for the turn. So this is a way of you being able to get cards underneath your field spell. I'm sure we can put some more cards in here that also have these, the same type of effects just to go underneath there. That's sort of the idea, is that you play these cards out, they gain effects, and then you put them underneath the field spell. That way you have the ability to awaken a little bit early, because you can awaken once you have 4 cards underneath the field spell. Second one's going to be Elder Kai. Same thing with focus. It's a 2-cost 6k. When this card comes into play, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it, or choose one of your opponent's cards. Switch to the rest mode. That card cannot restand until the end of their next turn. So you can choose any of your opponent's cards and switch to the rest mode, and then they cannot restand that card during their next turn until the end of their next turn. So you can play this card on your opponent's turn technically if you focus it, and then you can choose your opponent's leader, and then they can't restand it until the end of their turn, which is pretty nuts. If this card's pretty good for that. You also can play it on your turn to tap something, and this all triggers all of the yellow cards that tap stuff. So this triggers Bergamo. This triggers your Poutines. So you have a lot of effects in here to where you actually can trigger some older cards that are really good in the set, that give you some value as well. This card also has the same activate main. Place it underneath the field spell, then draw a card, and then you can activate it for the rest of the turn. And then the last card that I put in here is the Kibito. This card is a 3-cost that has a 12k power. When this card activates its focus ability, place this card in your energy and rest mode, then place the top card of your deck underneath your legacy of the Z Sword. So same sort of idea is you can put this card in your energy, and then you ramp the top card of your deck into underneath the Z Sword. Activate main on this card. You can pay this for 1 yellow. Play this card from your energy. When this card comes into play, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost 3 or less. In rest mode, KO it. If you do, draw a card. So this is a way for you to get a card on board. It's a good little pressure piece early on in the game. Also allows you to KO something. Also draws you a card. Ramps you in free energy, which is very interesting in yellow. Being able to kind of have a ramp in the deck a little bit. And eventually, the idea of this card is not to just ramp. It's to play this card out so you can get some board clear as well, and some more draw power too. So, but that's what I have for the Mystic Gohan deck. So the idea of the deck is to you use the field spell to awaken, and then you use the field spell's ability to give Gohan extra power, and then with that extra power, you use that to swing into your opponent to gain double strike and triple strike and kind of go for a game on that way. Inherently, the deck does draw a ton, and that's a gift and a curse. You're gonna be drawing a ton of cards because you're gonna draw once on your opponent's turn, once on the other guy's turn. Now there are some cards in the game that would actually hurt this deck a lot. One of those cards being Lord Slug, the yellow Lord Slug. When that card's in rest mode, you can't draw off your field spell. Now what you can still do is you can still do the effect where you put a card underneath your field spell, because that part's not drawing, but you can't use any of the other effects on it, and that does kind of suck. So but I wanted to have some sort of a clear weakness to the deck, so anything that can stop your opponent from drawing cards is going to be pretty good in this deck. But that's what I got for you guys today. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.